Oh, what's up people, Darksiders is right here, and welcome to another 10 gems on the games consoles. I don't have a clue what I'm going to title it, to be honest, but please understand. Last episode we went ahead and looked at my NES 5 gems that I've got in my possessions. But now I thought to myself, lower it down, move forward a few years later, maybe probably a couple of decades later, to the Nintendo Wii U. Now, as you guys know, the Nintendo Wii U was a massive disappointment to a lot of fans of the Nintendo era, and it didn't sell quite a lot of units and sadly died very quickly. But let's just give it some props though. It did have some games on that console that pretty much gave everybody a bit of hope for Nintendo to keep coming back alive. After a few years later, they made the Nintendo Switch to come back in full throttle to fight in the console wars again against the PlayStation and the Xbox. But let's just go back to the Nintendo Wii U. The Nintendo Wii U, when it first ever came out, a lot of people were a bit confused. Was it a portable console because it had a massive touch-style screen on the remote? People thought it was like the new version of a DS, but thank godly it wasn't. But remember, it was the beginning on how they were going to make the Nintendo Switch. So give it some respect, people, because even though the controls and the mechanisms inside the machine were not as good, give it some credit, because without that we probably wouldn't have the Nintendo Switch. That's all I'm saying. But anyhow, let's get back into my gems. I do have a few games on my collection on my Wii U. Definitely more than Nintendo Switch, because the Nintendo Switch stuff, which I'll tell you in the near future, are extremely expensive. But the Wii U ones, they only stayed expensive for probably less than a year, and then they just went straight down under profit. But now that people are all coming back from the dead for game collecting, Nintendo Wii U games are actually getting quite expensive and rare. And some people actually pay a pretty penny on some of the games. But anyhow, let me go through my 5 gems that I've got. Like I said, they are not in order, it's just what I pick up. So let's get this started. First one I've got right here, this was a sealed copy because I actually got one, I've got this one downloaded as a digital on my Wii U, and that is Darksiders The War Master Edition. This game kicks ass. Now, a lot of people may be thinking, Dobbsy, you don't like games like this, do you? You don't like the Souls games. I don't think this is really like a Souls game at all. It's a lot more easier, it's a lot more straightforward, kick-ass boss fights. It's a very, very powerful game, to be honest, because you're scarred by the law by a war between heaven and hell. It's pretty much what it all is. It's heaven versus hell. And literally every single thing about this is awesome, and it's pretty much it's a HD remaster, okay? So if you guys can find the original, play the original, but if you haven't got the original, try and find this. But you're pretty much you're hunted by a group of angels. So let me just tell you, you're not an angel in this game. You're some sort of demon from hell. So you're hell versus heaven, which is quite insane, to be honest. Because how many games don't really do that anymore? Not a lot of them, to be honest. But you get extreme arsenal in this game. A lot of amazing weapons. There's character progression, which is getting yourself new relics, new upgrades, new weapons, unlocking new abilities, customizations for your gameplay style. There's a lot of things you could do in this game, and I tell you truthfully, if you do find this on the Wii U and you do have a Nintendo Wii U, go ahead and try and purchase it, because it is a worth of a game to play. And I say it's definitely one of my gems that I do have. Next up though, this one actually is quite rare because it firstly originated on the Nintendo Wii, and sadly for me, I don't own it on the Wii because, to be honest, it was extremely rare. And it's still quite rare, but not as rare as the Nintendo Wii, and that is Rhodia The Sky Soldier. Holy crap, this is good. Really, really good. And like I said, not a lot of people say to me, well, it's some sort of anime game, isn't it? So of course I won't like it. It's not really about anime in this game, to be honest. It's pretty much, you soar through the skies, okay? So pretty much you're flying. You take flight, you save the Garuda, which is from the Naga Empire's invasion. Pretty much it's like a brighter version of Star Wars, but in the sky, not in the space. Pretty much you engage battles in arsenal combat, in aerial combat I meant. So you're pretty much fighting in the sky, which is awesome, to be honest. Who does not like that? unless you guys don't really like flying stuff and you're a bit nauseous with it. You explore the beautiful world of Garuda. And to be honest, the scenery of Garuda is quite beautiful, to be honest, back and forth its time. Probably doesn't hold up as it is nowadays, but it's still fun, to be honest. You can upgrade functions to sharpen your abilities, so once again, you can upgrade your abilities, upgrade your weapons, etc, etc. And also you can unlock and explore islands for bonus content, which not a lot of games do that nowadays. Pretty much you just take you straight forward to the next area and then that's it. Some games do, you can either go left or right or keep going straight forward. This is what it does. And when you find special stuff in there for special events, boy, it pays off. It really does. And if you guys can find this, definitely give it a find and definitely give it a play, because it is, to me, a very good game to play. And it's definitely one of my treasures. One of my gems. Next up, a game that, when it first came out, people hated it. Really did. But for some weird reason, it got a massive fan base, and it got a remake, and it went onto the PS4. And that is Zombie U. Pretty much the first one that ever came out for the Nintendo Wii, and this was pretty much the starter of the console, to be honest. And pretty much what it really is, it's a zombie apocalypse in London, okay? However, there is a little tiny gist about this. There's a little tiny twist for this game. If you die in this game, you die for good, and that means you lose everything, and then you start as a new character in the next game. And then you have to go back to that same area, pick up your stuff, and move on. But you see your last character that was killed as a zombie. That is awesome. The story is lacking, okay, I understand. Zombie games and everything don't really have a good story. This doesn't really have a fantastic story. It has a semi-okay story. But the combat, the zombies, how dark London is when it's all in pitch black, it's a lot of fun, to be honest. And if you guys can find it for the Wii U, definitely get it. But if you do find it on the PS4, I would definitely encourage you to get it on the PS4 instead, because it's actually a lot more better and it's clearer. But this one, though, is definitely a gem because it was the originator of the Wii U library, and I think it's awesome. And also, to let you guys know, this is also a multiplayer game as well, because you can play as 3 different multiplayer modes. And you don't really get that a lot in a lot of zombie games like this, to be honest. So definitely try and get yourself a copy of this if you can find it. Next up, pretty much a lot of people know this because a lot of people are waiting for the third one because it has been announced, and that's Bayonetta 2. You can't go wrong with Bayonetta. Pretty much Devil May Cry as a female. You can't go wrong. If you guys love old classic music, like the 80s and everything, because there's like new remixes of 80s music in this. But if you love Bayonetta, you're going to love this game. And if you guys have never played Bayonetta, unless you've only seen her in Super Smash Bros., please give her a go. Because in a few, I think probably in another year or so, we're going to get Bayonetta 3. I'm looking forward to it, because if you guys played this one, and you played number 1, you're going to love 3. I know you will. I'm definitely be playing it. But if you guys have not played this, it's pretty much like Devil May Cry, but as a female. So if that's pretty much caught your eye, please give it a go. It's definitely worth a try if you guys haven't played it. It's definitely one of my gems. And the final one, to be honest, a mixture of Dynasty Warriors with Legend of Zelda. How bad can it be? It's never bad. Legend of Zelda The Hyrule Warriors. This is awesome. You play as Link, you play as Zelda, you play as Imp, you play as Fi, you play as Minda, you play as Ganondorf, you play everybody in this game. You can play any character you really want, unless you have the DLC stuff like Tingle or Toon Link, if you got the Nintendo 3DS version, or you get the brand spanking new one that's on the Nintendo Switch, which sadly I don't own yet because it's too expensive. This is awesome, because if you love Dynasty Warriors and you love Legend of Zelda, you're going to love this. And besides that as well, if you like the old days from the NES era, you can play Adventure Mode, which turns into 8-bit, which is sick, to be honest. And literally, anything that's lore from Legend of Zelda, it's in this, to be honest. Pretty much everything's all straightforward. Pretty much you got characters that were from Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess, trying to remember who else was in it. There was loads of them. if I remember, Majora's Mask, if I recall. It literally, there's just so many characters in this. And plus you got some returning characters from older games, like this girl character here, I keep forgetting her name. But if I remember, she was in Dynasty Warriors as well, which was quite shocking to be honest when I first played this game. But literally, there's just so much stuff you could do in this game, and you can go back to every single area, pick up golden sculptures, which are then golden spiders, to collect new items, new weapons. It's just so much fun, and it's definitely a gem if you guys haven't played it. And if you guys have not played it, please pick this up. It's a massive gem to pick up. And if you don't own it, go into a shop or find a thrift shop, wherever you can find it, and try and find a copy of it, because it's definitely worth to play. So that's pretty much all I can really say about my Nintendo Wii U gems. There is a lot of other gems out there that I have not actually had a chance to pick up, because like I said, Nintendo Wii U games are actually hard to come by now, because when people bought them, they either threw them away in the bin, or they just trashed them easily, because sadly the Wii U games were easily trashed, to be honest. But if you look after them, you can have a good collection in your hands. That's the end of episode 2 for my gems. What's episode 3 going to come along? Well, we're going to be doing the Nintendo Switch console. So hopefully I see you guys in a few days' time for episode 3. The people I'm still going to see you guys for subscribing. I'll see you guys next time. Cheerio!